and welcome to Divine Downloads. I am your host, Cassandra Bodzak, and this is the show where we give you both the spiritual guidance and strategic actions to help you live your best life. And today's episode is top of mind for so many of us. It is all about the coronavirus. And we're going to break it down in what I like to call my practical, magical way, which is that spiritual and strategic balance. Because I think that's really important always if you listen to this show and you follow my teachings, but especially when we're dealing with this epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, on our hands right now. We are in a really unique time, and we're living through this the quote-unquote coronavirus debacle of 2020, that people will probably look back on and refer to, right? And so I wanted to address a couple things, both the spiritual side of it and the strategic side of it, because I think both are equally important, and it's really, really, really important right now for us to be in unity consciousness around it, right? And for us to try to it's going to be hard, but for us to really try to get out of judgment for how other people are responding to it. I think that is one of the ways situations like this can really divide us as a country and a world, where we can stand really righteously on what we believe instead of allowing ourselves to have empathy and allowing everybody to be on their own journey and allowing everybody to listen to what feels right to them and respond in the way that feels authentic and necessary to them. And so when we are, as we dive into this topic, I know if you're listening, you're already probably open-minded. You're already probably someone that trusts me a lot or appreciates what I'm saying. But I want you to open your mind to hearing both the spiritual and the practical, right? When we have things like that, let's dive into kind of the energetics of this, right? So when we have something like this that affects us on a mass level, we have a mass, and I mean a worldly opportunity to come together or to pull apart, right? We can use something like this to have us join forces, to have us, prioritize positive things like well-being, prioritize positive things like considering other people, right? There's a lot of good in that if you think about that, right? I was just texting with my parents this morning, sending them some things to do to prepare because, especially since they're in their 60s now, I want to make sure, and they're on the East Coast where a lot of stuff is happening, I want to make sure that they are logistically prepared as well. And one of the things I mentioned, because I know how my parents eat, is, hey guys, I not only send them some vitamins and different things that they should be taking right now to boost their immune system, and we'll get into all of that practicality as well in this podcast, so stay tuned for that. But I also told them, hey guys, sugar and refined carbs and all that is one of the biggest things to disrupt our immune system that we consume. It lowers our immunity. And so knowing that they do love their pizzas and their cakes and their donuts, and my dad loves his Oreos, whatnot, I told them, I was like, if you guys can just cut back on that right now, just to keep your immune system in the best possible place, so if you get it, you can fight it. And it was really interesting because my parents are pretty stubborn, as I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that, having people in your family that maybe aren't in the same page as you with wellness and spirituality and whatnot. And I think maybe there's a little bit more hope right now. I'm not going to, I'll pray for a miracle for them, but there's a little bit more open-minded right now to people to trying all different kinds of methods. So that can really be a beautiful unifying thing, and something that I also hope to push and celebrate with this podcast is that, me and my partner, for example, he is a Western doctor, and I am very much like a spiritual healer. So we are doing both. Both are we, cleaning everything, every surfaces, our phones, washing our hands, doing all of those things. and we're, taking my echinacea tinctures and my zinc tinctures and my vitamin C and all that stuff. And we've got Thieves Blend essential oil everywhere. And we're doing that. And I also went today to CVS and stocked up on things that we haven't even owned, like Theraflu and Advil and Dayquil, like just things so that we have around the house just in case, to not be naive, right? To be able to have all different kinds of resources available to us and taking both approaches, right? So similarly, just to give some examples, we recently were on a flight to New Orleans for my friend's wedding, and him he was like, okay, we are putting on hats and you're braiding your hair to eliminate surface area for hair to catch germs. And he got a surgical mask. He's a surgeon, so he got us some of those from the hospital. And we, wiped down all of the, the seat and all the things on the airplane for us. And, my part of that was also like keeping us hydrated, make sure that once again, we had, the different like immune boosting herbs and stuff. I had a bunch of different immune boosting teas with me. It was being conscious of, getting enough rest and doing all these different things to keep our immune system, as well as meditating and, putting healing green light over ourselves and doing that. And so we're going to get into all of those, all those different tips, tools, strategies for you guys to listen to later on in the podcast. But to kick it off, I really want to say this could be a massive opportunity for us to come together around our differences and allow ourselves to prioritize the collective well-being as well as our individual well-being by opening ourselves up to all different kinds of healing modalities, to all different kinds of immune system boosting modalities. Instead of saying mine is better than yours, it's saying let's join forces, right? Because everything, there's that beautiful Hafiz quote, everything is sacred, right? Everything can be sacred. And allowing that to bring us together, allowing us to join and not be scared of our fellow human, right? But also be connected empathetically to our fellow humans, and knowing that collectively we're moving through this right now, and that collectively people are dealing with their fears around this. Collectively, we're being brought down to a very primal place of worrying about our livelihood, about our life, right? We're being brought back to that primal place. And that is a place where, one, we can get into a lot of fear, we can get into a lot of divisiveness, or it's a place where we can really start seeing everybody, right? And, recently I had to make a really, really tough call. One of my girlfriends is getting married in Dubai, and me, along with a couple other friends, were supposed to go out there for the wedding, and then we were also going to go to Bali for Bali Spirit Fest, and we were going to be away. And I had literally been sick to my stomach about being out of the country that long and being on that long of a flight. And I had, my parents were also like sick to their stomach, freaking out about it, calling me every day, monitoring everything. And, in so many other instances like that, I would have really made my parents wrong or ignorant or naive or, whatever, being like, oh, they're just listening to the hype on the news, they're just doing that. But, and because of my consciousness and my awareness around what this is doing on a collective level, I really looked at them and said, wow, here are these people who created me, that love me more than they could ever express, that want me to be happy, healthy, functioning more than they could ever articulate, and doing the very best with what they have, reading everything that the CDC is posting, reading everything that's coming down on the news, like really being as educated as possible around this and looking out for my well-being and not wanting me to expose myself to this, right? And I was able to really receive it from a place of love instead of from a place of combativeness. And also, once again, I think this is also a call back to our intuition, to our discretion, because, my parents aside, I've been, as I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate, I've been putting aside my parents' preferences for many years now. And so that was aside. I was able to handle that lovingly, but I also told them that I was going to make my own decision and I'll let them know what I do. And through my own process of meditating and really, I was really lucky that Patrick, my partner, really respects my own process. So he kind of lets me decide on my own. He said, I'll support you either way. Um, and I really sat with it and I was like, in my heart of hearts, I don't feel like it's the right thing for me right now to be leaving the country and being out of the country this long. Do I think I'm going to get coronavirus from traveling? No, personally, I don't. But do I think that other things could happen while I'm out of the country where maybe it would make it difficult for me to come back or whatnot? Who knows? The moral of that story was when I really checked in with myself, the answer I got was no. And it was really hard. It's really hard to disappoint someone that you love that way. And especially for me, that's something that I incredibly struggle with. But I had to do it. And it felt like a level of initiation for me because I really had to honor my gut. And it was scary. And I lost thousands of dollars on it because shout out to Expedia for being non-coronavirus friendly. I won't be booking through you again. But, but I had to do it. I had to do it because I had to honor my intuition, even though it was massively inconvenient. And I'm not saying that because I think that y'all should cancel your flights or whatnot. I'm saying that because you need to, in times like this, hone your inner guidance and your own discernment more than ever. And this is a real opportunity for that for you guys. For those of you that might have travel or events or things, places where you're going to be in groups. I mean, that could go down to being at the gym or going to yoga class or whatever it is, right? We need to hone our intuitive muscles during this kind of crisis so that we're not, it's not about responding from a place of fear. Right? And for those of you who meditate or have a spiritual practice, this is why we do it. Because you know what? You could watch, if you're watching the news in the morning or you're reading the news, whatnot. I don't watch it because I feel like that's more sensationalized, but I do read my news in the morning. And especially around this, I think it's important to be educated about what's going on and try to find factual sources. And when I meditate, when I'm making decisions like that, when I'm making decisions of do I feel good about going to this, going on this long travel or going into this crowded place or whatever it is, I'm truly listening to my intuition. And I'm not, if we were all getting into our fear mind, we would already be self-quarantining at home, not touching anyone, or doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So I think you have to really listen to your intuition on this. And sometimes, as we talk about being intuitive, you're going to get that hit that says, don't go to yoga class today. And it's not going to have an explanation. You're going to get that hit that says, even though, your friends having a christening in Seattle, don't go, right? Patrick's actually sister canceled their flights to Seattle right before this kind of blew up because she literally just had, that intuition of this is not, this is going to get worse there. I don't feel safe bringing my two little kids in here. I'm going to cancel the flights. And again, lose money on it. But that is, that was worth it to listen to your intuition. So that's something spiritually that a lot of us are being connected to right now, to really tap into it. And it is, we use our intuition for everything. This is no different. Using your intuition, even when it comes to what supplements you're taking, if you feel like you want to get some over-the-counter medication to have in the house, what you're cleaning your house with, the practices that you're doing, really honoring that. And once I said it again, there are going to be times where your intuition pipes up and you might not have a logical reason. You might be like, well, Equinox sent me a thing about all their best practices about how I'm going to handle this. And so it should be fine, but I just have a feeling like I shouldn't go to the gym tonight. Honor that feeling. These are the times where connecting to your intuition and your discernment are more crucial than ever. And that goes the same way for fear mongering, right? When you see something on TV or you see an article and you get that feeling like this is some BS, honor that too and classify that accordingly, right? But yeah, so I want to stress those two things off the get-go. Collectively, this is an opportunity for us to come together in unity, for us to see each other in our deepest humanity as beings that just want to be happy, free, healthy, right? It's an opportunity for us to see empathy for others and how they're reacting to this and what their intuition is guiding them to do and come closer through that. 3, it's an opportunity for us to really amplify and connect deeper to our intuition and how we go about this and when we feel safe to travel and when we don't feel safe to travel and when we feel safe going to certain public places with a lot of people and when we don't. And there is a level of, moving through that. Let's talk about both the spiritual and the practical. So, practical, a lot of big events are already getting canceled. I was going to lead some meditations at a house at Coachella this year, and it's postponed already. I think South by Southwest is canceled or postponed. The Natural Products Expo got postponed. I just got another email today that this Best You Expo in LA is postponed. People are not taking chances, and I really respect that on the level of these people who are running these events have a collective responsibility for the well-being of everybody showing up at these events. And they're taking that seriously. And while, yes, is it inconvenient that everything's getting canceled? Massively inconvenient. But what we can respect and love is that the people that are canceling things are really honoring the responsibility they have for the lives and the well-beings of the people that are showing up for them. So, my hat is off to these people that are making these tough decisions, because if you don't think these people are taking massive financial hits in the process, then you're not considering that, right? They are. Everyone is. All of these airlines, I had a great experience with American, contrary to my Expedia experience, where they, no questions asked, completely refunded one of my flights earlier. And this was to Spain, this was even before things got really crazy earlier on in early beginning of February. And, to me, that really spoke to me as someone that travels a lot about, wow, this is an airline that gets it, right? This is an airline that, is going to take a huge financial loss for to allow their customers to honor their own discernment, right? How beautiful is that? A company that's allowing you to honor your own discernment. And I think and I hope that more and more companies are going to be responding that way, because what that is doing again, these are the times where, they always say it's the tough times that show people who you really are, right? Well, it's also the tough times that show you, who a company really is and what their values are and what they stand for. And so I think that's incredible. And so like I said, there's that practical side of limiting your exposure, using your own discernment as far as what makes sense for you, and being willing to have difficult conversations in the wake of that, being willing to, really own your own sovereignty around your well-being and not being afraid. We talk about this all the time, usually under the context of business and self-expression, not being afraid to honor your truth. And once again, allowing, that is going to be a big initiation for a lot of us. And so from an immune system side effect or side of things, right? I'm going to release some meditations for releasing fear around the coronavirus, and some meditations for boosting your immune system, and some immune system, and a meditation for honoring your truth, that I think are going to be really helpful. And so you can look to the link below for how to get access to them. And for right now, what I want to share with you is some of the practical tips that I think we should be honoring. And then I'll come back and share with you some spiritual tools that you can do to also protect yourself. So, practicality. One of the things that the Course in Miracles says is, that the body heals when we're not looking at it. And I think sometimes this is misinterpreted by thinking that, oh, well, Course in Miracles are spiritual people, don't think that you need to take medicine, or don't think that you need to take care of your body. That is not true. In fact, I've always been a big advocate for saying we keep ourselves healthy, we eat healthy, we follow these kind of immune boosting things so that we feel like we can think about other things, right? I took my vitamin C this morning. I took my echinacea this morning. I take all my supplements in the morning. I do my infrared sauna. I eat healthy. I eat lots of greens. I drink good teas. I do all the things. Why? So that I don't have to think about it. I'm not fearing for my well-being or fearing about my body during the day, because I've, what I like to call, kind of put it on autopilot, right? I've created a system and a structure that supports me so that I don't have to be in fear about it all day. And so there's a real practical side to helping us squash some of those fear-based thoughts. And sometimes what I think people don't understand is that you can do actions from fear, you can do actions from love, and it could be the same action. I talk about this a lot in Eat with Intention around food. You could eat that kale salad from a place of being like, I love all of the nutrients I'm getting from this kale salad, and it's making me strong and it's making me healthy. Or you can eat that kale salad from being like, I hate my body and I want to lose weight and everybody says kale's the way, or whatever, right? Or I'm so scared I'm gonna get the coronavirus and I'm just gobbling down leafy greens, right? And so we have the choice of how the energy and the intention in which we do everything that we do. I went out, like I said before, I went out to CVS today and stocked up on a bunch of more conventional over-the-counter meds, in addition to a bunch more supplements and vitamin C and zinc and all of that stuff. Not because, from a fear-based place, or from a love-based place. Because I'm not only responsible for myself, I'm also responsible for my partner. And I want us, and if we have this little stash, right, it gives us one less thing we have to worry about. One less things we have to fear about, I hope that we don't have to touch that stuff. I don't prefer to touch that stuff. But if the moment arises, if that is something that we can have to give us peace of mind right now, so it's not affecting our day-to-day life, so we don't have to think about it. I went and spent my money at CVS today. We have a little cabinet set up, and now we don't have to think about it. Now it's not in our consciousness about that stuff as much, right? Because we're prepared, because we've taken it. And so I think that is something that's really important about the strategic stuff, is that we can do the strategic stuff from a place of love. I felt so loved. It was so funny, because to know me is know that I'm really not someone that would even wear a hat or wear a face mask or any of that stuff. But I felt so much love from Patrick by the fact that he had already thought about all this stuff for us. And I'll be honest, I tried to not wear them, and I was like, you can wear them, I'm fine, I don't worry about it. And he was like, babe, can you just do it for me, because your well-being matters to me. And I can't do a lot to protect you, but this is a little thing I could do, right? And so I saw that, and I saw the love, and I put it on from a place of love, and I felt deeply loved. instead of, reacting or being judgmental or calling him scared or feared, whatever, right? And then same thing in that same arena, he allows me to do energy work where I can protect our immune systems and stuff. And he appreciates that from me because that is my contribution. And so, that happens to be in our partnership, but that I know that dynamic goes on with a lot of you and your families and your friends and different people you interact with. So if you can really see this as a place of love, of us all trying to take care of each other and do the best for our well-being, then you can receive it as love. Then you don't have to receive someone's fear. You can receive their love, right? With my parents, I received their love instead of receiving their fear. And we have that choice, right? We can choose to feel the love in someone, maybe sending us an email or asking us to wash our hands again, right? We can choose to see the love in those beautiful moments right now of us deeply caring for our individual people's well-beings. And so I think that is a really beautiful thing. And again, on the practicality side of things, when you set up some of these measures, what it allows you to do is to be in more love than fear, because you don't have to think about it. It's kind of like, for those of you that have gone from living paycheck to paycheck to having like a comfy little pillow fund, what happens is when you're living paycheck to paycheck, all you're thinking about is money. You're in a lot of fear for money. When you set up that little, that little oops fund or whatever, you have like 6 months of living expenses in there, you get out of a lot of fear, right? You're not in as fear around money. Why? Because you've put some things aside. And so now you don't have to think about it day to day. You don't have to worry about it as much. And so I want you to think about it in that way when it comes to the coronavirus and any measures that you're taking. And like I said, obviously you guys know I'm not a doctor, not some viral expert or anything like that. I've been reading a lot about it, and I've been reading from a lot of viral experts, and I live with a doctor, but it's pretty common sense, right? In the way that we are dealing with an illness, kind of like the flu, that is more contagious. And what we can do is take those extra protocols to wash our hands, wash our hands more thoroughly. Make sure you have, antibacterial wipes, that you're wiping your counters on, that you're wiping your phone when you come in, that you're, taking your shoes off so you're not dragging anything in, little things like that, not touching your face. These are things that you can read in a lot of articles. So I know like this is not reinventing the wheel here, but thinking about it, you go out like trying to eliminate the amount of surfaces you touch. Be that weirdo that elbows the door, right? I use my butt to push, a lot of doors, right? Let someone open the door for you, ladies. Don't be afraid to, use a tissue to, if you have to, like, you hold a handle in public or something like that. It's okay to be a little bit, more careful right now. That doesn't have to mean that you're giving into fear. In fact, when we develop these new habits, we're evolving and developing new habits for this new climate right now. When it just becomes our regular, like for instance, Patrick, being a surgeon, washes his hands more than anyone I've ever met. We go through hand soap in our house like nobody's business. He washes his hands after he does everything, every time he comes home. And that is like just is training for medical school. So this is literally like no different for him. He's just trying to get me to be more of a hand washer, more of an OCD hand washer now. And so what happens is eventually that will become maybe perhaps more of the norm for us, okay? And is it really so detrimental that we're all washing our hands and being a little bit more careful about germs? I don't think so. And so once again, if you just get into that habit where you're like, okay, now I wash my hands every time I come home from being outside. Now I don't touch my face until I've washed my hands. I mean, don't touch your face at all, because you don't need to touch your face, because usually that just breeds all sorts of stuff on your face, even in times of not coronavirus, right? But especially now, knowing that this is a thing that can live on surfaces for up to a week. So just being, really careful about, cleaning your countertops, cleaning the parts of your things, not putting, if you put your bag down in a lot of public places, I'm like number one offender of this, making sure you don't put your bag on the countertop that maybe you put your fork on they eat of, right? And it's just being a little bit more conscious and careful. And again, can we see the positive in that? We're all going to have to be more mindful. We're going to have to be more mindful of what we touch. We're going to have to be more mindful of, our cleanliness. We're going to have to be more mindful of eating healthily to boost our immune system, which I really love. Hey guys, news flash for you. Thing that we can all do to boost our immune system right now is stop eating refined sugars and refined carbs. Essentially stop eating crap. You guys already know not to eat crap. But here's the thing about refined sugar and refined carbs. I'm not talking about your mangoes or your blueberries or your apples. Eat your fruits. Your fruits got lots of great nutrients for you, right? Even honey. Honey has lots of great nutrients if you get really good honey. Get good raw honey. Don't buy like crap honey. That's not a place to cheap out. But eating things like cookies and donuts and cakes and candy right now is silly. It's just silly and it's irresponsible because these things lower our immune system. The body is freaking magical and powerful and can fight off anything, really. But what happens is, our fear levels, our stress levels, what we eat, how we sleep, all of these things affect our immunity. They do. And so, the little things you can do is to be conscious of your immunity. And you know what? I actually love this because you know what happens when you start getting conscious of your immunity? All areas of your well-being thrive because the same things that help boost your immunity are going to help heal all of the different things that you might be working with, right? And support them. They are saying that this virus only affects elderly, super young, and the immunocompromised. And I think that, one, a lot of us have autoimmune conditions, so that is not a small population. There's a lot of people that are struggling with different autoimmune things that therefore do have some level of compromised immune system. And beyond that, I would say that most of us have a compromised immune system based on our stress levels. And I don't say this, once again, to instill fear in you. I say it to instill consciousness in you of the fact that these are things that will benefit every area of your life being more mindful around. Meditate, literally meditate. It's going to boost your immune system. It's going to lower your stress levels. These are times where we should be conscious of our stress levels. Get clear on what's a priority for you right now. And if your immune system and keeping yourself healthy is a priority, then when something is stressing you out, you get to choose. You get to choose if you want to go further into stress or fear or anxiety, or if you want to choose the loving, the peaceful, the abundant way of looking at something, and I think that affects our well-being. It does. And so being more conscious and mindful around your stress levels right now is going to really help you stay strong and not only help your immune system thrive so that if, gosh, forbid you happen to get corona, you fight it off like a champ, but also have your immune system thrive so you're thriving in every area of your life so you feel amazing, right? This is not just prevention. This is also us getting to be our most vibrant, amazing selves throughout all of this, right? And so same thing when it comes to sleep, being really conscious of the amount of sleep. Your body heals, repairs, does so much deep work during sleep that it is, this is not the time to skimp on sleep. This is not the time to pull all-nighters. These things compromise your immune system. We all know from college, or even me more recently when I've had, crazy work or crazy travel stuff, that when we don't sleep well for a couple of days, we end up getting sick. We end up getting certain symptoms. Our immune system can't fight off things that it naturally would have. So being more conscious about your sleeping habits. Once again, not only is it going to help boost your immune system, but it's literally going to help every area of your life. You function better. You're a better human when you sleep. Let's just all be honest. It's the truth. And then when the food comes, like I said, this is a great time if you ever needed motivation to really kick inflammatory foods that are hurting your immune system, that are not beneficial for you. Why not use this as a beautiful incentive and motivation to really take care of this beautiful earth suit of yours? There are so many beautiful foods, fruits, vegetables, whatever your thing is, that are going to give you nutrients, that are going to help make you stronger. Let's not waste any of our plate with something that's going to compromise our immune system. And so once again, those are refined sugars. That's going to be your cookies, your cakes, your muffins, your candy, right? It's the added sugar in things, right? Watching, is there a ton of added sugar in your salad dressing? Is there a ton of added sugar in your granola, right? That's a hidden culprit. A lot of brands do that, unfortunately. Thinking about things like, same thing, gluten. Gluten is going to affect your immune system. A lot of people are gluten sensitive, even if you don't have celiac. And that can, if you eat gluten and you feel tired or you feel brain foggy, that's affecting your immune system, right? So this is an even better reason to be on top of that right now. Be conscious of that right now. And then same thing with refined carbohydrates that also turn to sugar, like your white breads, your crackers, stuff like that. There are so many amazing options right now where you can get things that actually have nutrient dense properties to them as substitutes for those things that you're used to. I make, my fiance I call him the carb monster, right? I make him grain-free muffins and I load those muffins with things like flax seeds and blueberries and lemon and all these things that are actually going to boost his immune system, right? And so we have so much power right in our kitchen and our home and our lifestyle to keep ourselves as strong and healthy as possible, loading up on leafy greens and vegetables, taking, I told literally everybody in my family, we already do, everyone's taking a vitamin. I love the My Kind vitamins because they're from food sources. So I'm taking one of those. My parents, I have taking the wellness formula from Whole Foods. Patrick, I also got him a My Kind men's multivitamin. Having zinc and echinacea and elderberry, vitamin C, having all sorts of supplements, around and I'm taking vitamin C every day. I've been taking zinc every day because that helps me. But also, just honoring once again, this is the time where we get to have fun with this, and that might sound weird, oh, how is this fun? This is scary. This is horrible. But again, it's a choice how we look at it. Yes, is what is happening globally horrible? Yes. Okay. But maybe this is the time for you. I've been using this as a time to nerd out even more on what herbs and spices I can get to boost immune system stuff, right? In my book, Eat with Intention, I have a healing soup and a healing juice, right? You can look on Pinterest for a bunch of different healing tea recipes. There are so many different things that we can allow ourselves to say, okay, well, let me be proactive in the strengthening of my well-being. Let me focus on my well-being instead of the sickness that's around. And so doing those things, like I said, keeping your house clean, being careful who comes into your house, being careful what you're touching when you're out, washing your hands, doing all these basic things, honoring your intuition when it comes to taking long trips or being in crowded spaces, are all beautiful things that you can do from a place of love. And once you get some of those, like I said, kind of on that autopilot where you're like, okay, I just wash my hands now. That's just what I do. I just take these supplements now. That's just what I do. I have my little emergency stash of over-the-counter stuff just in case I get sick or someone in my household gets sick, that I know where that is. I have some, I have a lot of water around. Maybe you have, some extra food around, right, that are nutrient dense things, allows us to not put so much focus on the fear, right? Because we're feeling our best, because we're taking care of ourselves to the highest degree possible right now. And then simultaneously doing your spiritual work around it. So once again, not allowing yourself, being really mindful of your thoughts, being mindful of, are you allowing yourself to go down a negative fear spiral? Shut off the TV, stop reading the stuff, right? It's not going to help anything, and do something completely different that gets your mind off of it. I am literally, one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm reading Jessica Simpson's book called Open Book. It's a great book. And what I love about it is it's like completely tunes me out from other stuff, right? I'm reading that. I'm also reading, I read like a bunch of books at a time. I'm kind of a crazy book worm. And actually that brings me, I was supposed to say this at the beginning of the episode, but I didn't. I'm doing an Audible offer for you guys, just random, because I listen to audiobooks literally like twice a week. I go through books like nobody's business because I love them, and Audible is a great way to consume them while I'm driving or cleaning or whatnot. So I got an affiliate thing where you guys, I believe, get 2 free audiobooks if you sign up. If you haven't done it before, you can go down to the show notes and click that. I'll be saying that at the beginning, but it just kind of came up because I think books are a great tool to distract me. That's what I do when I need to shift. I am also reading In the Flow by Elisa Vitti, which talks about our different cycles and how we can optimize our well-being for that. And again, it gets our head in different places. Maybe you want to read a business book, right? So if you're going down the Corona hole, you can say, okay, I've done everything I did. I'm, washing my hands, taking my supplements, eating healthy, doing all my things. Let me indulge in this business book that's enjoyable. Let me, go paint, or let me go dance. Let me do something that's going to just completely shift my mind from the fear that's coming. As well as, like I said, I'm going to give you guys some meditations that are going to help it. Another really simple thing that you can do every day is white and green light. So white light, when you wake up, you can clean your whole energy field with some white light. You just call it a light. I call it a light bath. I'm pretty sure I actually have a light bath meditation on YouTube right now from years ago. You could probably look up. And you literally just imagine yourself being bathed in white light, and it's just cleaning and clearing every cell and every particle of your being, and making that a daily practice, cleaning it out. If you work with angels or spirit guides, calling in your angels and spirit guides, asking them to help clear out any toxins, anything that doesn't belong in your energetic body, anything that's causing any disruption, just to allow them in, allow them to clear it out. Healing green light. So Archangel Raphael controls a lot of our physical health, or not controls, that's a bad word for it. He is like the angel of our physical health, right? So that's kind of his domain, so to speak. So I always call Raphael in, and I see this beautiful emerald green healing light all over my body. I've done this in specific places, like I'll do it on my throat if I feel stuff going on in my throat. I'll do it, I've done it in my ovaries when I feel stuff going in my ovaries, like anywhere you name it. You can bring in that green healing light. But right now, it'd be a great idea, and once again, we'll do some guided meditations along with this. But, bring in that beautiful dark green healing light, and allow yourself to fully, just fully be immersed in it, fully have it cleanse everything possible, right? So that you can really, really just have that. I truly believe that it is both an internal and an external game. And when we do these practices every day, I have seen miracles from healing green light. I remember this one time, and I share this with you for anyone who doubts the power of this, which is completely okay, normal, right? I was going through some really severe pain around my reproductive area. And I was certain that maybe I had a cyst that popped, or there was something going on there, and it had never been diagnosed before, obviously. And I was in so much pain. It was so much pain. It was crazy. And I couldn't get in to see my gynecologist for 2 weeks. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I'm in a lot of pain. So they bumped me up, and I think it was like a week. That was the earliest they could do. And so every single night and every single morning, I would focus, like, healing green light in that area. And after a couple days, I started noticing that it felt better. And the day or two before my appointment, I had absolutely no pain anymore. Everything felt amazing. So I still went to my appointment because I had waited for it, obviously. And they did an ultrasound, and they did all the things, and they even went in and felt around to make sure everything was okay. And they're like, everything's perfectly healthy. Everything is fine. Do you still have any symptoms? And I said, no, all my symptoms vanished a couple days ago. All I was doing was this healing green light. And, of course, I must have attracted a very conscious gynecologist, because she was like, I'm actually not surprised at all by that. I've had, in my years working, I've had people who have done similar things, and we have a lot of power, healing power of ourselves. So if there was anything going on, you may have just healed it, and everything looks healthy and fine now. So I say that to let you know that these things work. I'm not saying that to let you know that you should just be putting on healing green light and going to Wuhan, China. That is not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that these can be part of our arsenal, our practical magic arsenal, to help us during these times. And once again, doing a breathing meditation where I inhale health, I inhale well-being, I exhale any fear, I exhale any toxins. Simple as that. You are commanding your body to uptake well-being frequencies and release fear-based frequencies, release any toxins. Our body is so wise. Our body is so wise that we should be using this. We should be utilizing this. Every time you take a shower or a bath, I'm releasing any toxins. I'm releasing anything that doesn't belong. I am strengthening my immune system, right? If there is a specific fear, I do this a lot in my work with clients. They're called medicine mantras, right? I made that up. It's not an official Sanskrit mantra, okay? But that's what I call it. Say what you will. Medicine sayings if you don't. But I call it a medicine mantra because what we do is we take a specific fear that's coming up for you. So for instance, let's say you have a specific fear that, I'm scared that I'm going to get corona, or I'm scared that my daughter's going to get it in school, or whatever is coming up for you. Like maybe I'm scared for my husband's going to get whatever the thing is. Come up with the counter medicine to that. So let's use that. I'm scared that I'm going to get coronavirus. The counter medicine to that could be, I am strong and divinely protected. Or my immune system is strong and I am divinely protected. My immune system is strong and I am divinely protected. And so whenever that thought comes up, I'm scared I'm going to get corona, we remember our medicine mantra. I'm strong and I am divinely protected. My immune system is strong and I am divinely protected. And I recommend you doing it for at least 30 seconds after that thought comes up. Have the thought come up and go into your mantra for a little bit. If you really need to do some heavy lifting, do that mantra for 20 minutes. Let that be your meditation practice. If you really feel yourself stuck in a fear hole around this, right? For some of us, it's going to trigger us more than others. The coronavirus could also trigger, a lot of other fears that are coming up, right? A lot of people are really scared for their financial well-being as well because of all the different, effects this is having on different industries. And so if that's what's coming up for you, then again, medicine mantra for your specific fear. I am divinely supported and financial abundance flows effortlessly to me, or whatever feels good to you, right? My industry is resilient, and I know there's a divine plan with all this, right? It's about finding something that really resonates with you. That's kind of like, enough steps up that you don't feel resistance, that you're not like, well, that's a lie, right? It's coming up with a statement that feels true to you, but also represents the loving possibility and the loving option. And so, another thing you can do as far as a ritual, doing a healing ritual for your house, cleansing your house, literally setting the intention, putting together perhaps an antiseptic, using some thieves oil or an antiseptic oil blend that you want to use for mopping your house or for spraying about your house, perhaps, right? And being in the ritual of it, saying, I am protecting this environment. This environment is boosting our immune systems, is, supportive and remains clean. And then even lighting a candle, right? Getting a beautiful emerald green candle representing that healing energy, that immune boosting energy. You could do green, you could do white. And then writing the intention. Either you can carve it on the candle or write it in a little note below it, and light that candle and have it burn. Get it in a glass container, right? Of course. Get it in a glass container so it's not going to cause a fire. But get a big old green candle, big old white candle. Let that, set the intention. This house is protected. There's so much healing energy. And every time you walk to that candle, or perhaps if you extinguish it and then you let it in the morning, however you want to do it, you see your entire home filling up with bright green emerald healing light. Your entire home being filled up with bright white light. So I want to encourage this for you guys. I really want, as I'm saying all this, what I will be doing, what I've decided I will be doing is I'm going to create a little kit for you guys. I'm going to create a well-being, I haven't decided what I'm calling it yet because it literally just came through as I was talking to you. I'm going to be creating a well-being kit for you guys. It's going to be full of spiritual practices you can do to protect yourself and to honor your well-being, spiritual and practical practices that you can do now or whenever. This can be anytime. You can do this, if there's like a big presentation that you don't want to get sick for, a big event you don't want to get sick for, if you feel sickness coming on and, you want to protect that. But especially during these times when so many of us are scared and fearful, I think that this would be a really great resource for you. So obviously I just thought of it, so I'm not going to have it ready this moment. But what I'm going to do in the box below is I'm going to put a link for you to sign up for pretty much it'll be like a little wait list, mailing list. And if you sign up on this list, when it's released, we'll let you know. And so you can just opt in on the little link that I'll put below, and I'll have it out for you shortly, hopefully within the next few days, so that you can really utilize that, take advantage of that, and both do enjoy. I don't know, enjoy sounds like a weird word, but one of the things we learn in A Course in Miracles is that we learn that sometimes we don't know what's best for us. And so I like to think about that on a global level now of this is what it is right now. How can we make some gold out of it? How can we find the gold in the situation? And perhaps the gold is you learning some different ways that you can take care of yourself. Some different ways you can take care of your household. Perhaps the gold is you getting these practices on autopilot, getting these well-being practices on autopilot when it comes to the sleep and the stress control and the immunity and all of this, so that when you, so that you know, on the other end of this, and hopefully a few months, 6 months, when this is all history and we're all, you know, grateful that coronavirus pandemonium is behind us, we came out of it stronger. We came out of it with these amazing practices. We came out of it with these amazing tools. We came out of it with closer relationships, right? That's the space I'm holding for this. So I love you all. I hope this was helpful. If you love this, like I said, please leave a comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment, hit subscribe to be, you know, so that you're in the mix for more of my meditations. If you're listening to this on iTunes, also subscribe, of course, for more divine downloads from me. And be sure to click the link below to head over to YouTube so you can get some of the meditations as well there. And as always, your 5-star reviews really help spread this. Please share this if you have someone in your life that is fearful of the coronavirus. If you have a spiritual person in your life that is maybe struggling with finding the balance, or a practical person that's struggling with finding the balance, share. Let me speak for you, and, you know, have them just listen with an open mind and see if this can help transform that relationship and help, you know, bring some light to this situation. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you all next week on Divine Download.